Hello, friends. Now let us discuss the remaining part in unit number one, that is Introduction to Risk Management. In that, it is a fifth lecture series that I am going to discuss it with you today. There are only two remaining parts in the unit one, that is burden of risk on society and method of handling a risk in the business. In our previous lecture series, I have already discussed information relating to the types of risk and sources of risk in the previous lecture series number 4, where you came across already the different types of risk like pure risk and speculative risk and individual risk and group risk like that. And we have already seen the sources of risk. What are the various sources of risk which emerges the risk or creates the risk in the business? That also we have already discussed. Now let us understand what is the burden of the risk on the society. Economic burden of the society, that we already know that if at all any risk happens, the business units may suffer loss. Because of that, it may produce, there will be less revenue to the company, and because of that there would be more the risk, there is a more inflation, because a lot of supply of the goods may not be possible in the market. Demand may increase, inflation may appear. So these are the various kinds of general effects on the economy because of the risk happening. Now what is its burden of a risk on the society? And this things we will study in this lecture. And the second one is method of handling the risk in the business. How risk can be handled? What are the various strategies that are normally used by the business people in handling the risk in the business? That also we will discuss in this lecture series. Let us understand what are the various burden of risk on the society. When the risk emerges or estimated problem occurs, or estimated uncertainty happens, it is going to create certain turmoils in the society, and the society has to manage it with certain difficulties. So those difficulties which the society faces while the risk is happening and while we are managing the particular risk that is being estimated, so that is what we call as burden on the society. The first one is the size of an emergency fund has to be created, or if it is there, it has to be increased to manage the risk. Now we can take a simple example of this COVID itself. When the COVID started emerging in the country, so earlier we never thought that it is going to happen in the country like India. In 2019 November onwards, some cases started identified in the border area of China and Pakistan, and this has slowly percolated in the Indian society also. So you could be able to identify the presence of this COVID in certain parts of the country, in Delhi, Calcutta, and in some parts of Karnataka. Slowly, a very limited cases were identified, and it was estimated that a risk was identified that it is going to spread throughout the country. And if it spread throughout the country, what are the repercussions? In order to handle this risk, this burden of risk, the government has to create certain emergency fund to address. One is when the lockdown has to happen, a particular kind of food arrangements has to be made to the daily wage workers when they lose their employment, and if they are not fed with the cheap or priced products or free delivery of the rations for survival during this COVID pandemic, there will be a social unrest. In order to address this, an emergency fund was supposed to be created for the purpose of providing the necessary support services for management of the risk in the society. This is what we call as burden of risk on the society. That emergency fund has to be created. If it is already there, you have to increase that emergency fund. Now, in our country, the emergency fund for COVID is being created from the amount of the treasury, where the special budget has been announced by the central and state governments, where that money has been kept aside for attending the medical emergencies of the patients, the free supply of medical facilities to the needy person who are falling below the poverty line has been taken care. And the researches were conducted for identifying the medicines for COVID treatment, especially the vaccination kind of a part. That is how the fund was required and it was created. And the fund got increased by raising the donations, self contributions, voluntary contributions in the form of cash and kind, or in the form of service and effort, has been expected by the country to control the risk. So this is what a major burden which lies on the government or on the system and the economy to sustain that particular catastrophic kind of a risk. Not all risk will create a burden on the society. Only catastrophic risk refers to those risks which are affecting the whole mass, affecting the whole group, affecting the country. Now pandemic like COVID is called as a catastrophic. Earthquake is a catastrophic because it is not only affect a one person, but it affects the general community in total. So in such cases the whole community has to be safeguarded, provided necessary kind of support during that particular time. So this is what we call as a emergency fund necessity arises is one of the burden on the economy, on the society. The second one is society is deprived of certain goods and services, and immediately this risk emerges, especially catastrophic kind of a risk emergence in the society. There will be dearth of the goods and services provisions to the needy people, either because of the disturbances in the transportation system, or because of not production of the goods, or because there is a huge demand for those goods under the tension that the supply of the goods may get short and the people may not get. So most of the people start storing those products. So this is what the common effect of the risk on the society. Take an example of again the COVID itself. When it has started emerging, the, there is a supply of sanitizers, masks in the initial stage were very less. Now the government started producing masks and sanitizers, but the need of medicines like remdesivir or a kind of the antiviral drugs, those supply got stuck. That is one more problem. Now, the problem of oxygen supply. So these are the essential goods and services which are necessary to support the risk related activities will get short in supply, and the society will be facing the problem of dearth of certain goods and services for their comfortable life, or facing that particular risk. The last one is worry and fear are present with the society because of the pandemics or risks happening. People will have a worry, fear that most of the working class people, especially in private jobs, there is a fear of losing the job. Second one is there is a fear of getting affected by the, for the family members, and medical expenses will shoot up during that particular time is another kind of a fear. Now, fear of discomfort or fear of disturbing the normal working style of the population. So that are all things present. So these are the three important burden of the risk on the society due to happening of certain risk. Normally, the burden of risk on the society is being created by the catastrophic kind of risks. Now, how to handle these risks, especially in business part is concerned? There are certain techniques, there are certain kinds of what you call as plans, or kind of execution of particular action oriented things for avoid for handling the risk. Those are considered to be five in nature in general. One is avoidance of risk, second one is loss control, third one is retention, fourth one is non-insurance transfers, and fifth one is insurance contracts. So these are the five different ways through which we can control the risk. Avoidance of risk. What is avoidance of risk? Avoidance is not allowing the risk to happen, or try to withdraw certain kinds of actions which leads to risk. That is what we call as avoidance. Avoidance is a method of handling the risk. For example, You can avoid the risk of being mugged in a high crime rate area by staying out of the uh, particular area. Suppose if you feel that your assets, properties may get robbed in that particular place, you can avoid staying in that particular place to safeguard yourself is called as avoidance. Another strange example that has been given in a funny way, that if you want to avoid the risk of divorce, don't get married. So avoiding marriage leads to get rid of the risk of divorce. If you don't have marriage, you need not require to divorce only. So this is what a funny kind of an example. Now the concept is very clear. In most of the cases, risk can be avoided by not attending certain kinds of activities or actions. So that is also one of the way. For example, defect goods which are sold in the market may create damage to the customers, and they may sue for certain kind of a damages in the country, in the market. So now what is the way of avoidance? Avoid producing the defective goods as far as possible. You try to control the quality and see that the defective products will not go to the market. In the through the quality control, and the products are being tested and packed and put in the market. So whenever there is any product found defect, will be withdrawn there only, which will not come to the market, and you don't find any complaints relating to such kind of products in the market. So your brand image, your company image, and customer satisfaction level will all can be managed by avoiding this risk of defect goods and all that. So now next one is method is loss control. Loss control is another technique of handling the risk. If you cannot avoid risk, then loss can be controlled arising out of the risk. The loss controls are of two types. One is loss prevention, and second one is loss reduction. What is the loss prevention? See that loss will not happen only. For example, avoiding the risk of road accident by training the driving skill in the owner of the vehicle. If the owner of the vehicle is trained well on the driving skills, you can easily avoid the road accidents to certain extent. So this is a loss prevention. Loss prevention in the sense, in this case, loss is possible to happen, but you are preventing by taking certain measures. That is what we call as loss prevention. Loss reduction in the sense, if at all any risk happens, you cannot 100% eradicate the loss. Loss is going to happen, but what you can do is to certain act, you can reduce the quantum of the loss. If you do not take such steps, whole loss is supposed to happen due to risk. So in this case, reduction techniques are being used to minimize the losses. Keeping the extinguishers in the premises of the to reduce the loss due to fire. If at all you probe that the fire is supposed to happen, and in spite of controlling all that activities, sometimes unexpectedly fire may burst out in the society, in the factory premises. So therefore, to reduce the loss, if at all the fire emerges there, you are keeping certain kinds of equipments called as fire extinguisher, which are tested and proven that it works in the time required. So in such cases, what happens, the people can easily use and reduce the fire loss. If at all you don't keep this, fire is going to create the whole loss. So you can have a partial loss by controlling these fires and all that, by keeping certain toolkits and all that. This is what we call as example of. For example, the loss reduction can also be made by proper repairing or maintenance of the product as per the requirement, so the necessity reduction can be stopped. Next one is a retention method. It is the risk by taking a partial financial support, like keeping aside some money out of the income, for example. Loss retention method retention method of the risk, in the sense you are keeping retaining certain resources in such a manner that if a loss happens, if the risk happens, you are trying to control that with that particular retained money. For example, when you buy an asset or a machinery or a transportation bus, you will find that every year its performance level goes on reducing. its market demand goes on reducing. The product, if you go in the market and has to sell, you cannot sell at the price at which you have purchased for the first time. So there is always a reduction in its value. When we know that the reduction of the value happens for any of the assets, in order to replace the assets over a period of time when its price becomes zero, you need to have a supportive amount of money that you are keeping aside from the profit in the form of depreciation. If you keep certain fund of money in the form of depreciation, you can avoid these kind of losses. There is a one more fund called reserves and surplus for specific reasons, reserve for bad debt, and reserve for sinking fund. Sinking fund in the sense, if the business is sinking due to certain pandemics like corona or earthquake or something else, what you are going to do is you are creating certain kind of funds in order to sustain those unexpected those expected risks. That is what we call as retention method. In this case, you are retaining certain kinds of resources to manage the risk if it happens. If it happens. And next one is non-insurance risk transfer agreements. In this case, you are not taking any insurance on the product, but you are taking certain kinds of agreements and contracts where if at all any damages happen to the asset, the person who has taken the responsibility of managing it has to come forward and repair it or replace the parts and make it more effective working in that. This is what we call as non-insurance risk transfer agreements. Normally, annual maintenance contracts, warranties, guarantees, all these comes under this non-insurance transfer agreements where the buyer of the product will not have the risk of damage or something else. It is transferred to the seller or to certain kinds of external agencies to manage this kind of risk. This is what we call as non-insurance risk types. The examples that we had given in this lecture, in this as presentation, the risk of defective television or stereo set can be transferred to the retailer by purchasing a service contract. While buying the product, if you take a service contract, that any damages happens, the service has to be given at a free cost to the buyer. So buyers may put these conditions where these conditions will transfer the burden of the loss to the seller itself, not does not go to the buyer even if the products are sold. So such contracts, such kind of agreements are called as non-insurance risk, is a method of handling the risk. The last one is insurance contracts. The insurance contract can be entered with the insurance company to get compensation for the loss. If at all any asset that you believe that it's going to have certain kind of risks, the assets may be obsolete because of change in the technology. The asset may become useless due to a fluctuation of time. Asset may get uh, reduced price because of continuous use or because of the damages happened due to natural calamities and all that. Insurance contract can be taken. The owner of the asset can take an insurance contract, and by paying a premium and all that, we can transfer the whole loss or risk of a loss on the head of the third party called as insurer. So these are called as insurance contract agreements. So these are the 5 important methods that we normally come across in any business for handling the risk. In the examination, question may be asked, what is risk? Yes, explain the various methods of handling risk in the business. So you have to explain these 5 important what you call as methods of handling the risk. That is avoidance, loss control, retention, and non-insurance transfers and insurance transfers. So the detailed discussion of the insurance, that we will do it when we are dealing with the insurance, because your subject covers 2 parts in the subject. One is risk management and third one is insurance. Insurance is the technique or technology or a kind of planning premise where the loss can be transferred to from the owner to the insurance companies, owner of the asset to the insurance company. So this is what called as insurance contract. So here we will end our discussion session. Hope that all of you will watch this video again, and will prepare for your exams well. The normal questions which are asked in the examination is what are the burden, discuss the various burdens that emerge in the society due to risk happening. And next one is what are the various methods of handling the risk, various methods of handling the risk. So these are the expected questions from this session. So I will switch off now. We will meet again for the next module number 2. So model number 1, I declare it is over, and any queries and all that you can ask it in the next lecture series. Okay. Thank you, friends. Thank you.